there is a real overarching sense of burnout and fatigue within the collective right now. And I think for many of us, it can be this feeling of, how many more rounds of this? How many more times do I have to go through this cycle? But actually, for many of us, there's probably this moment of truth or clarity that's a bit of a cycle breaker. And what it means is that we're having, I think, in all of our different ways, whatever it is that we've been working on, whatever it is that we've been focused on, whatever it is that we as individuals feel like the main core of our personal growth work, our spiritual growth work has been on, there is some sort of shift within that, some sort of dynamic shift where this newfound clarity is going to take us over a bump. It's like a big speed bump, and this could be a bit like a, I live in the UK and we're riddled, but the roads are riddled with potholes. It's like going over a massive pothole and you burst a tire and you sit there and you're like, well, what do I do now? And in time, obviously, you'll change the tire and you'll continue on your journey. But it feels like there is this pause in the moment right now. There might have been, or perhaps you've just experienced some sort of pothole clarity moment. And this feels very much, this isn't just triggered by our inner world. This is triggered by everything that's going on in the wider world around us. This is unignorable. There are so many huge events. And, I mean, if you think about, I think about the way that the time at which I have grown up through and built a business through and built a social media presence through. We've seen the rise of the influencer and the good that that's done for so many people like myself, being able to build a business. But also, there is this idea of this perfect life, of a perfect lifestyle that we have been shown. And for many, there could have been this sense of, I've just got to get there. I've just got to get to that thing. And this at the moment feels like some of those walls, some of those ideas, the blinkers that were blocking out maybe some of the truth, they're coming down. And we're seeing things. This is why we've got so much kind of expose energy within the collective. There's so much coming to the surface that might have felt hidden for a very long time in the wider world, but also within us as individuals. There is this sense of things coming to the surface, and we could have been trying, we could have been overcoming, we could have been doing things. Let's face it, I think for many of us, this sense of exhaustion and perhaps burnout comes from the intensity of this work and just how long we might have felt like we were doing it, or this feeling of, but when, and at the back of your mind, if we're thinking, well, if I just keep doing this work, I'm going to get to that perfect influencer, spiritual influencer kind of, that thing or that thing, that lifestyle, whatever it is that you're saying, comparing yourself to, measuring yourself up against and aiming for. There's always that, well, when I get there, I'll be okay. When I get there, I'll enjoy life. When I get there, I'll be happy. And this is one of those circuit breaker moments. Perhaps we're seeing that isn't actually what we want, or maybe it isn't all of that. And a bag of chips or whatever it is they say, maybe it isn't all that. The bell's on, to be more British. Maybe there is this sense of, okay, if it isn't that, I don't know what it is right now. And then we come to this place of pause, the pause after the big shift, the pause after the realization, the pause when we don't have all the answers, when we don't know exactly what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And things keep coming to the surface. We keep finding breakthroughs, keep having breakthroughs, keep finding truth, coming deeper to that sense of authentic self. And you know that sense of authenticity within when you feel it. And keep being guided to try the new thing, to explore a new possibility, to put your hat in the ring for a new opportunity. And at the same time, we're exploring, we're adventuring. Maybe we're not supposed to have it all figured out. And maybe the illusion that there was just this one goal, this one level of success, this one level of perfection this one perfect life, this one perfectly healed person, whatever it is. That dynamic shifted. And with it, we're having realizations that perhaps my version of the perfect life looks nothing like that. But I myself have been in this phase of trying to work towards that. And this is a big part of our collective journey at this time, because many of us in all different ways have been trying things and going, okay, but maybe it's not that, but this, I'll try this. And it's not about finding that perfect thing necessarily, but constantly, consistently trying, exploring, adventuring, sensing, experiencing, and going, actually, this was fun and this was great for a time in my life, but maybe not now, maybe no more. Maybe I can close this chapter. Maybe this is complete. And again, maybe realizing where some of those limitations have come from within, by our thoughts and feelings, going back to the inner work and feeling like, actually, I told myself that this was as good as it could get, or that was as far as the goal went within me, or this was, I only believed I could go so far. And if you believe you can only go so far, you will find yourself correct. So there is a sense of exploration, experimentation, and expansion, and opening into the deeper sense of maybe it's okay to still be exploring and not have all the answers. Because what do you do if you have all the answers? What do you do? Do you just do that thing for the rest of your days? Because everything else around us is going to keep changing. So there is this sense here of dismantling, deconstructing some of these external senses of perfection, of ideals, of goals that we have been reaching for, and going deeper, reflecting deeper back on what it is that we truly feel, actually, maybe I want to explore this pathway. Maybe I want to try this different thing, and it's completely different and it's completely new. Or maybe it's just pivot ever so slightly on your current pathway. All of us will have these experiences in different ways at different stages and times in our life. But that sense of fatigue is almost causing us to pause, is telling us, okay, well, maybe you feel like you've got limited energy at the minute, but if you've got all of this energy, your vital, precious energy to spend in this lifetime, in this present moment, what's the best thing I can do? Where's the best place I can focus it and direct it? These things, some of these goals, they might not even exist. When I look at social media and I think about social media goals, some of these things may not even exist in another 5 years, in another decade. So making those external things the goal, maybe that's not the thing. And coming back to that inner sense of, but following this path for me, expressing myself in this way, learning these new skills, trying these new crafts or new habits, or new sets of study, whatever it might be for you. Maybe that is a goal that becomes more flexible with you, and we'll find a way. So I think the main message I have right now is that if you're tired and you need to pause, then pause. It might feel like there is an energy coming in from anywhere to push you in a particular direction. And that's okay, because we are in ourselves having all of this inner movement, and stuff's being figured out, stuff's being worked through, stuff's being removed. In this space, be present with yourself. What are your main needs? What do you need to do right now? What are the things in your physical life that need your focus and attention too? Because there is really a balance of all of them. We keep all of these things spinning all the time. Maybe some of them can be let go of. And maybe some of them, there's just a way to lighten the load or just make things a little bit easier for ourselves. Maybe there's just a new realization of something that we can step away from. Take a really deep breath and realize that actually there's going to be something new that's coming through. There's going to be a clear course, even if it's not this second. So in this second, I'm going to prioritize what I need. Maybe that's joy. Maybe it's laughter. Maybe it's dance. Maybe it's going out with friends, playing with my children, whatever it is. Be present and be the antidote to what you see as the problem being. And if you feel like there is no fun or no time for doing these things, I know it seems really counterintuitive. And this is your journey, your life at the end of the day. But I know for me, there never feels like there's enough time, but actually sometimes we carve out that time. Sometimes we have to carve out that time to do things non-work related or to do whatever it is. And in that space, we find a whole lot of joy that actually refuels us for the next thing that we need to do. So I'm going to leave that there for you. I'm going to get some runes as ever. These can be a little bit noisy, so Ingvaz. We have the essence of new beginnings here, of fertility. And this is all about the seeds that we are planting. In the space of, in the fertile earth, let's say, there is a potential for so many things. And I feel like at the moment, if you find yourself in a time that feels quite still, that maybe it feels like not much is going on and not much is happening, maybe you feel like you've been spinning your wheels, you're in this fertile resting space. And maybe this is a time, if certain things aren't working or haven't been working, or things haven't been growing the ways in which we'd hoped, this is a time at which we then focus on planting some new seeds. Or maybe, just maybe, there are seeds being planted that we don't even realize, which is, I find, often the way. There are cosmic nudges from the universe, things that we follow up on, things that we try and do, things that we actually go and pursue. And within those, we plant new seeds, have conversations, try things, embark upon new things, experiment with stuff that actually turns into something else. It is the initiation of a new journey or a new pivot point or a new side road off, and within that we explore the new potential. If you're cultivating things intentionally, food, flowers, whatever it might be, vegetables, fruits, you can't always leave everything growing. There needs to be this sort of pruning back in order to get the best growth. So in many ways, focus on the seeds you're planting. So focus on the seeds that you are nurturing. And in that stillness, and in that time of potential and growth, even if it doesn't feel like potential, there is potential in stillness. So focus on what you are putting into it. Focus on what you're maybe researching, maybe even in a panic because things feel like they're not working out. And it's like, what am I going to do now? In that moment, perhaps you discover something. So take a breath, pause, and go into what exactly you would like to do, but also allow for however that is for you. Make time for some new ideas to filter through, new possibilities. If you're constantly there saying no to yourself, if you shut it down the second a new thought or new idea comes in, you can't do that, it's ridiculous, then you wouldn't try. So there's a few different messages with this one this week, but it'll be slightly different for all of us, but probably we can take a little something from all of those different nuances from Inkmas. love it when I feel elusive. 2. Okay. We have Athala and Takas. Yes. Maybe some of these cycles, maybe some of these difficult cycles and challenges that you've been experiencing and growing through, maybe some of them are destined. And that is not something that many of us like to think about, or I don't think. From my perspective, sometimes it is only through the experiencing of something, a situation, something that we don't want happening. You know, if not that, then this, or if not this, then maybe it's that. It's only that we get that real deep clarity of what feels right for us and what feels aligned for us. And you know, we're human beings. We rely on data. Doesn't matter how spiritual you are or perceive yourself to be, or psychic or intuitive. Everybody has a sixth sense, and you get a sixth sense for the things that feel right. And sometimes we sense things and we sense that they're off, and then we go and do them anyway. And afterwards, we were like, I knew that didn't feel right. I've done that so many times. And in that moment, we validate ourselves. And whilst there can be so many other things that you could layer onto that, in its truest sense, perhaps some of these experiences that we've had were in order for us to have the realizations that we needed, so that we had our own data about what felt right for us and what didn't feel right for us, in order to have the fresh starts and the new beginnings, so that we could see the patterns and the cycles. Maybe we tried something new, or maybe we've been stuck in something. Maybe it's something inherited. And then we go through this place of, okay, I see the cycle, I see the pattern, now it's time to break it. Or perhaps it's, it's just that constant pull towards what feels, it's just a very sun-like energy, because it's the Dagar's rune. Nothing is held in sun or shade forever. There is a cycle to it all. So I feel like whatever's coming to light right now, we'll be doing so at the right time and with intention. But it's also recognizing those cycles and patterns within us, what perhaps is ready to break, perhaps what's working in our favor, and recognizing the value of all of our experiences in terms of the data that they provide us at a spiritual or intellectual level, whatever it is, but to create that sense of knowing, of when something feels right and when something feels off, in a way that only you can. Lots of sun energy, which doesn't really surprise me. I think it's quite wonderful. We have Savilo, which I also associate with lightning, lightning strikes and thunder. The sense of clarity, of wisdom, of a viewpoint, of enlightenment, something that comes out of the blue. And it can be like the sun would, a very sudden illumination, something that once light has been shone upon it, there's no unseeing what has been seen. So there are things coming to the surface right now which can very much be the sense of enlightenment, light being shone on something which then cannot be unseen. And our job is then to decide where that wisdom, that awakening, that seeing, where do we go from there? And this clarity, this truth, it might be very personal. It might be something that you feel inclined to share, or it might be something that just becomes a very inner knowing, that inner voice that then helps discern what it is that you're going to do, your next steps, your next phase, what it is that you're going to do, how you show up. the things that you do, the things that you'll tolerate, the things that you won't tolerate, the things that you will align with, the things that you won't align with. It feels like that sense of really personal inner clarity that creates the benchmark at which we make decisions from, that inner voice, that inner guidance, and really honoring that. And again, I'm just getting this might not be something that we shout about. It might not be something that we share or express in many ways, perhaps. For some, it will be. But for many, this is something that's very deep, personal, and profound. And it creates an inner catalyst. And also, at the same time, it's like an inner level up that says, okay, no, I've been to this place now and I can't go beneath that. I can't settle for that again, or I can't accept that. I can't unsee this again. And you won't, because you've had that moment of clarity, that moment of realization. So I'm going to leave this message here for you. I just wish you the most wonderful week ahead. Sending you all my love, and I'll speak to you again really, really soon.